It's Today in Putnam County with Shan Stout.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Today in Putnam County. I'm Shan Stout, and I have my co-host Tessa Davis with us. And this is a very fun episode of the show. I'm looking forward to it. This is a recap episode, and I have our guest. She is no stranger to anyone. This is Avery Hutchins, and Avery is, of course, the president of WCTE PBS, and most recently, she got a really great idea. Probably you call it a crazy idea now after all the work you've put in to host a dance competition on live television.
Yes.
And there were 12 teams, 10 counties, and
why not? And why not?
Why not? I mean, really. You know, you thought of this last year, and the Let's Dance competition is behind us. Yeah. But the fun is still lingering out there. I mean, the dancers had a ball. And, you know, initially when you were saying, you know, how are we going to recruit these dancers? I mean, you know, because understand, live TV, it's not just like it's an event for 350 people to watch you, which is horrifying enough. I mean, I'm just going to say, like, you know, I just can't even put myself in their shoes. Because that's a scary place to be. Yes. You're very, very vulnerable, even though for the audience member, it's like, woo, this is a lot of fun. Right. You want to watch it, train wreck or fantastic performance. Right. But for the people on stage doing that, talk about, you know, how you first came up with the idea, how much approval did it take for you to get that ball rolling, and then we're going to talk about the journey, and then more importantly, all the winners.
Yes. Well, thank you, Shan. Thank you, and Tess, for having me today. It's always great to talk about something that was so close and dear, and did very well for the station, and brought in so many counties. We were really looking for something that was super engaging, that a lot of the counties could get behind, that we weren't hyper-focused in one area, that brought in some new viewers, some new blood, because with the loss of our federal funding, we needed that. We needed to rally the support of the Upper Cumberland. And I mean, not to brag on my team, but I think we had a home run with this one. I'm super excited. But you asked me about the dancers. And so we actually, we kind of stole the idea. You know, they steal the idea. So we kind of stole the idea. Jackson, Tennessee does something very similar. So we watched what they did. We had numerous conversations, and then we just kind of molded it to fit what we wanted. But we started back in the winter of last year, and we got the graphics, and we started asking people to participate. And I got exactly what you just said. Not me, not me. No,
what?
No. You want me to do what? And I was like, yeah, you know.
And potentially dance with a stranger. So understand, these are not necessarily, we had some married couples on stage, but a lot of them were people that were either related to each other, or some of them were just like, hey, find me somebody to pair up with.
Well, actually, we didn't find anybody to pair up with.
Well, that was what was scary.
Yeah.
So then, you know, we had people go, oh, well, you know what? I'll rally and I will come to the cause.
We had two that wanted to dance but didn't have partners.
Yes.
So then we had to, we tried to put some feelers out. We really wanted to spread it out into the other counties. So we didn't want to be hyper-focused in Putnam County. We really wanted... So, I mean, calling counties like Jackson County, Cumberland County, Fentress,
Warren, is out there,
DeKalb, White, and being like, who do you know that likes to dance? And so we, you know, about May, we had like 2 or 3 dancers. And I'm thinking, this isn't going to work. Like, we can't do a whole show with 3 dancers. So we just kept pushing and calling, and it's to call somebody that calls somebody. And really, by August, we had rallied about 8 dancers, and we were feeling really good about it. And they were sort of starting to warm up to the idea. They had to find, you know, some of them felt like they wanted to have a choreographer. Some of them were choreographers.
Sure.
Some of them did their own. But then somewhere in that, like the 4th quarter there, we ended up getting like 3 or 4 more dancers, which I thought, okay, 12 teams, that's a lot. That's 24 individuals, personalities, needs, questions, first-timers. And I said, okay, well, somebody will certainly drop out. You know, about December, they'll have not practiced enough. They will have somebody's going to
They'll
get
catch a
sick.
cold, that's right.
Somebody's going to have an emergency, and it'll kind of back down to maybe 9 or 10. I'm thinking that's a perfect number. But let me tell you, those dancers brought game, and nobody was backing out. I don't care what was going on they worked so hard. They practiced, they choreographed, they got music ready, they came to every meeting. We would meet on Zoom like once a month. We together tackled it because they would have questions that I hadn't thought about. And so I had to think, oh, you know what, maybe we need to think about that. Maybe a 20 by 20 stage isn't big enough.
Yes.
We don't want anybody falling off.
Absolutely.
So we need a big stage. And then there was questions about how long should they dance? And I'm thinking, well, what's too long to dance? Again, I'm thinking we need to fill time on air. And so, we settled on 3.5. And then what is the judging criteria? And what, where did we get costumes? And how do we do hair and makeup for television? All these questions came up. And I'll be honest, I mean, those 12 teams supported us as much as we supported them in those early, thinking about it from a dancer's perspective and what they need.
And let's talk about support, because these teams were not just preparing to compete, because they're going to dance in front of a live and a live televised audience. So live audience, live televised audience, and that's enough to focus on. But that's not all they were responsible for, because this is a fundraiser for WCTE.
That's right.
So they had to get a sponsor, right?
Well,
or did you pair them with sponsors?
I actually took on the sponsorship.
Because I know Fentress County was paired with a Fentress County sponsor.
That's right.
So
yes, and that was the goal. That was the plan, is to try to fund somebody. And the reason I took that on is that I wanted to make sure that sponsor got everything they were to get for their sponsorship. And I knew that I know the business better than our volunteer dancers. So I picked that up. And that money, that sponsorship, went towards their philanthropy giving, because they were challenged with a category called the Impact Award. And that's how much money they can raise for the philanthropy before Let's Dance, so before February 12th. So they started sort of raising money like October, asking people and contributing. And we had with sponsorships, $28,000 in just the philanthropy giving.
Which is unbelievable.
Huge.
Yes.
I mean, just so people can get kind of a context, we didn't sell that many. We packed the house, but we still didn't make that much money selling all the tickets for the in-person event.
As you did for the philanthropy
That's
piece.
right. And the philanthropy is just dollars.
Yes.
There's no expenses.
These are $1 votes for your favorite team.
No, the philanthropy is completely different.
So the philanthropy, can they just donate any amount?
They could.
So what was that model?
Right. So the philanthropy is those teams would get people to give to the philanthropy for the chance to be the Impact champion.
Okay, so they were just rallying funds.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's leading up to the event. So people had parties. They did social media campaigns to say, support my team for the Impact Award.
And here's my link.
And we did graphics, and we did videos of the teams so people could see them on social media, which some of those went really viral.
I love the social media.
Yeah.
Oh, they were fantastic.
They went wild. So people just started supporting their teams. So they would do, $50 or $100. So February the 11th at midnight, that closed. So there was an award, the Impact Award, which was what team could raise the most funds prior to the event.
Okay, and our Impact Award winner.
Yeah, Costa and Tracy.
No surprise. I mean, really, they rallied hard and early. I think they were like really one of the first to really be innovative with raising funds, and it was fun to watch.
Costa's on the board, so I would. He was
and
all
he's
in.
very competitive. And Tracy, I don't know that there's a more competitive person on earth than Tracy Franklin. Like, she was in it to win it from the get-go, and so
there was a few others on there. I would say Pam was pretty competitive. I don't know if you remember Pam Cosgrove.
Oh yes,
she showed up too. I love
the fact they all were having fun but
Yes.
you felt the competition in the room. And, I'm going to talk behind the scenes because we were at rehearsal. There was no dress rehearsal. So even those of us that got to see some, and it was only a partial dance, like they only danced for maybe a minute and a half at rehearsal. It was up to them to dance in their own spaces. So some of them were using office space and boardrooms where they had cleared out the space to use as a dance floor.
Yep.
Some of them had used rooms in their house, that they had
For
cleared
practice.
out again
Yep.
for a dance floor.
YMCA. One of them went to the
Yes.
YMCA to meet and practice.
And so understand, those are all different surface floors. And then when you get to the dance floor we had on site, that was something they had to adjust to. So there was a whole lot of navigating that element of I'm not going to get to practice on this floor except for a minute and a half, the morning of. It's crazy. And they held back because there were certain elements of their dance that were outstanding that I didn't get to see until it was live television. That's how competitive they were. They didn't want any of the other teams to see what they had up their sleeve. And I'm talking, there were backflips involved. There were cartwheels involved. There were all kinds of things involved. There was some comedy involved. There were props involved. So they really, really brought their A game. And, on a scale from 0 to 10, how solid did you feel in the capabilities of these dancers? Because I was really at a 5. I thought, before I saw anything, I was like, if they just bring a semi-mediocre game to the table, we're going to be okay.
Well, we started meeting in August on Zoom calls. So we would meet once a month on a Zoom call, and they would ask questions like, well, does it have to be a certain style of dance? And I'm like, no, it can be whatever you want. And they would ask certain questions. And so I did not even know all of the dances or even what we were going to have. I mean, at one point I thought we're going to have a lot of ballroom.
Yes, you're afraid you're going to have 9 waltzes,
and it's going to be really semi-boring, and that's going to be, but I really, and we did not share on the Zoom calls with each other what dances people were doing.
Oh, and they were gatekeeping that pretty tight.
They were pretty tight on that. They didn't want their surprise. And if I was told of like a prop or something to ask, I mean, I was sworn to secrecy. They didn't want that to be exposed. And I mean, people built their own props. They choreographed their own dances.
Had costumes made.
They made their own costumes. I don't know where it started, but they started feeding off of each other at that very first Zoom call, and it was no joke. I mean, I thought, oh, we're going to be ha-ha. There was no joking around. These people were dead serious, and and I would be answering texts and questions 24/7 because they would be at a dance practice, and they'd be like, well, what about this? And I mean, so I was 24/7 with them through this whole process of them getting to the point where they were that night during the dance competition. And I think, just all of it. But the inaugural dance team that you saw that night, I mean, any future dancers, I mean, they're going to have
setting
big
the bar high.
shoes to fill. And they are the ones that made the event what it was.
Definitely.
We could show up, put on a party, get the dance floor, get the lights, the camera. But if those performers didn't do their social media, didn't campaign for it, didn't build the audience or get people excited, it would not have been as great as it was. So
No.
I give all the credit to those teams that showed up that night.
Well,
it's
and
incredible.
You know how entertaining they were because the crowd went wild. The crowd would stand up and dance along. It was something to see. Like we needed a secondary camera just to film the crowd because they were crazy for this competition, and they were there rooting for all of them because you couldn't help it. No matter who you came there to root for,
That's right.
You clapped and cheered for everybody because everybody was.
We had two 80-plus-year-olds there.
I mean,
performing,
doing a great job. By the way,
good.
I mean,
They were so good.
I mean, yeah.
it was. Now I'm going to say one of your dance teams. They were wearing their wedding shoes from when they got married.
Yes.
Their wedding shoes.
Yes.
And
Rhonda and Keith from Overton County.
Miss Rhonda said, look at my shoes. They're in such good shape. And I said, oh, Miss Rhonda, I love your shoes. She goes, these are the shoes I got married in. And oh, my goodness.
They were the real deal.
They were the real deal. Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my word. And like, they still fit. And she's still walking around in heels.
Yeah.
I mean, like the whole thing was impressive, but so precious.
And her husband had Parkinson's.
Yes.
And they had not, I guess, they loved to dance before he got Parkinson's. And they have been able to adapt and find ways that they can still do that.
And they were fabulous.
And Overton County, I mean, I was like, I'm from Overton County. And I'm like calling people and they're like, no. And I'm like, all right, come on, y'all. And they finally said, we've got somebody for you. And I said, okay, who is it? And they said, Rhonda and Keith Bilbrey. And I said, let's chat. I'm ready.
They were amazing.
Yeah.
It was so precious. And I have more questions and more things to talk about. We want to also talk about the winners and how much money was raised for WCTE PBS. So when we come back, all that and more. So don't go away. You are watching Today in Putnam County.
We're back with Today in Putnam County with Shan Stout.
Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. And if you're just now joining us, you are going to be able to hear some great winner results from the Let's Dance Championship that just happened with WCTE PBS. It was a live televised dance event, and I'm here with Avery Hutchins, president of WCTE PBS, and my co-host Tessa Davis, and we are going to talk about the winners of this fantastic competition and the fact that it was live broadcast for television, live fundraising. So people were placing $1 votes as they watched the event. There were a lot of behind the scenes layers to make this happen. And amazingly, it went off without a hitch. I mean, it was so many things could have gone wrong when you're doing live television. And the fact that nothing really did. It was 12 dance teams, fabulous time. You know, and this is a dinner, so like you're also having caterers involved for the audience. There are so many things, Avery. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's so ambitious. This is such a big endeavor.
Yeah.
You know, are they going to be able to do it? And boy, did you ever.
Yeah, I know.
Let's talk about the total. I just want to say the glory moment, the total amount that was raised for WCTE PBS.
Well, we were just shy, like 1,200 shy of 70,000.
Almost 70,000.
So I'm just going to say 70 because I love a good
round number. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So thrilled.
And if anybody wants to donate $1,200 just to round us up to 70, it would. You know, we're not going to turn it away.
No. So and just the auction, which a lot of people are familiar with, the Great TV auction, it makes 60.
Yes.
You know, and it's a 10-day on air. No, 5 days on air. Online
and just push.
So it takes and lots of sponsorship, but with Let's Dance, I mean, we did 70, and it was a collaborative effort
and a first year
and a first year. Yes, the first year.
So so can't wait till next year. You finally got your sea legs under you. You know what you're doing. Everybody knows what they're facing. The dance teams even. We had people in the audience who said, "What do I have to do to sign up for this?" Because once you see it and it becomes a live thing where you just feel so inspired, you think, I want to do that.
Everybody
right?
wants to do it now.
And so, I mean, you may have to do auditions.
Well,
I don't even know.
May will open it back up.
Oh my goodness.
So in May we'll open it up for people to submit their applications or submit their names for consideration.
Well, I want to thank you because in the beginning you were like, hey, if we do this, would you host it? And I was like, absolutely. Absolutely.
Such a good sport.
Listen, it was so much fun.
There was some hiccups there too. I mean, there was a few little hiccups with the host because we were trying to communicate and there was
anytime you're doing live television and somebody is like trying to mouth in the dark what you're doing wrong. I mean, you know,
it was. You did a great job.
Well,
and you winged it. Sometimes you just had to go with it. And we had all that little extra time at the end.
Yes.
So we're like, what do we do now? We've got like 15 minutes of broadcast air.
It happens.
So, but that's okay.
Better than I've done live television where you ran out of time and
Yeah.
the television audience didn't get to see who wins.
I know. Well, we weren't going to have
that
that
makes
happen.
people really, really
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
So to have a little extra time is
Yeah.
much better than running
It gave
out
people
of time.
some time to get those last minute votes in.
And they
Yeah.
did.
Yes, they
and
did.
they did. At $1 a vote, which
Yep.
again, you set the bar at a very reasonable pace.
I really didn't know because we were expecting people to, go to the app, put in their credit card information, put in, and people are hesitant to just do that. They're not just going to be like, sure, here's my information. So I really had no idea if people would actually even vote.
Well, I
So-
love the fact that they only had to put their payment information in one time.
That's right.
Then you could
Yep.
keep going back, and you go,
Yep.
you know what? They did a good job too.
Yeah.
I've come here, say for
Yep.
Tracy and Costa,
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
going to vote for Rhonda and Keith.
A lot of people voted
And-
for multiple people.
It
Yes.
was a very easy process. I voted. I was standing in the back with my camera taking pictures and voting. And it was a very easy process. You made
Good.
it very simple. It wasn't confusing or overwhelming.
Simple.
Yeah, you did a great
Good.
job.
Good.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say, when it comes to putting in your payment information, we all trust WCTE. There's a trusted relationship. It's not like, you're some sort of wild company over here that no one's familiar with.
Yeah.
So I don't even think that was a barrier for you because we're like, this is going to a good cause. We've all donated for one thing or another over time.
Yeah.
And from my experience, I kind of got the behind the scenes view, same as
did.
you.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to brag on you. You were the floor director, but you were the high rabba-labba of the whole crazy thing. So to be having to do that one specific role to make sure that I'm on my target, the dancers are on their target, and the backstage people are knowing
Yep.
what they're doing, you're doing all of that, but also any issue that's happening within the entire. Now, this is a 3-hour event. Let's just clarify.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So it's a long time to be on your A game,
Yeah.
in charge of every
Yeah.
piece of it.
Yeah.
And then there's the truck outside where all your staff is in there running the live television.
Yep.
All
Camera.
of the pieces,
Yeah.
what you call lower thirds. Everybody's like, they heard you, they kept saying lower third, and audience members, when I would be off stage, they go, what's a lower third? So for those of you who are unsure still to this day what a lower third is, it is the bottom little banner tag that goes and tells you the name and the sponsor and all of that stuff at the lower
Identifies
third of the
people.
screen.
Yeah.
So that was to me the funniest question that I was
you
asked.
bring up a really good point, Shan. I had multiple people who are good friends of mine that know what I do for a living and had no idea what I did for a living. For the
Yes.
first time, we had 350 people
Watching
that care,
you produce
love,
something.
and believe
Yeah.
in the work that we do, seeing us firsthand broadcast. They've tuned in and watched live broadcast. They see us on the television. They've never seen us behind the scenes. And I think that it just validated the work that we do. And to me,
As
I mean,
well it should.
well, you know,
I
and
do
I
know, I do.
But I mean, for someone that's just sitting at home, that's like, oh, we have a TV station.
Yes.
Okay, whatever.
It's
you
like
know.
it's magic.
And to see the behind the scenes, I mean, I hope I've converted all 350 of those people to either members, donors, supporters, contributors.
Yes.
Because I hope they've seen firsthand the work that goes into the things that we do to produce local. I mean, we're doing basketball tonight.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. It never stops for you. Like the second Let's Dance was over, it was like, okay, now we're on to the next thing.
Unfortunately.
And sometimes
yeah.
your events stack.
They do.
And I know, because I'll be talking to your staff and I'm just like, and they're like, yeah, well this morning we're filming this, but then tonight we
know.
have to set up for this, and then tomorrow morning it's crazy the amount of work that you for a PBS station, you have a very small crew
We
that
do.
they're almost all hands on deck all the time.
Yeah, we have 10.
Yes.
We have 10. And really,
And they do the work of like 30 people.
well-
You just need to understand that.
well, I have to give some shout outs to our volunteers.
Please do.
Because our volunteers, and David, who's behind the scenes here, has been one of our avid supporters and volunteers, and always shows up to help. And whatever we need, they're there. And Shan, you too. I mean, I said, can you host? I mean, somebody's got to be on that 3-hour was it 3 hours? 2 hours. 2 hours of television of keeping that thing moving. And we couldn't do it without our volunteers. And really, I mean, there's so many over the years that have helped make WCT what it is. So it's a community thing.
I will say, I just got back, Tessa and I both, from I call it the Tiny Governors Conference, but we've been at a conference on tourism, and we were in Franklin, and all 95 counties are represented in tourism there, and the Let's Dance competition has just wrapped up, and I believe that all 95 counties saw it on.
Really?
Yes, they saw it either on television or on YouTube.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because you had multiple ways to watch. Some were streaming it, but I was an hour late going home because I had people coming up talking to me, asking about the fact of how did you guys decide to do it? Was it successful? And then every single one of them, they ended it with, I wish we had our own local PBS.
Yeah.
Because they would have a partnering city, somewhere that was close by or in a region. But the fact that I think, I'm not even going to say we take it for granted. I think most of the people in Putnam County do not take WCTE for granted. But if for some reason, I was very concerned, when the funding was being cut for WCTE and you were uncertain about your future. And, we'd had conversations about this, like, oh my goodness, what's this going to look like? Because you didn't know. You have no way of knowing. This is an uncertain future. And, if we didn't have, my brain went to what if we don't have WCTE anymore? Yeah. The amount of loss that I felt for our area, because most people don't have the benefits that we have. But for us to have felt like we've always had them and then to give them up like we don't have them anymore. So for anyone out there, I mean, that is looking, looking to support something that is very good, one of the best nonprofit ways that you can support, because you guys are doing everything and you have such a good, pure focus to provide educational content, family-friendly content, something where you can turn your television. That was the best thing about when my kids were younger. I could turn it on WCTE and walk away to cook dinner, and I didn't have to worry about what they might see.
Yep.
And,
I think that's still today.
Yes.
I mean, people tell me that all the time.
Oh,
They're
absolutely. My kids are just now, in their 20s, so they can.
and they say, they're learning how to read by watching your programming.
My kids were the same way.
And we consider ourselves lifelong learners because you don't just stop at a certain age. You continue to learn. And when you tune into WCT, you're going to get, all the local stuff that we love, but there's also some national programming that's incredible. And it brings that outside world right into our living room. And it's commercial free and it's free over the air. So no matter what where you live or your access or your financial situation, you're going to be able to receive free over-the-air programming, and not just one channel, but 4 channels. We broadcast 4 channels.
Amazing. It's amazing.
WCT has been in this community for 48 years this August, and I don't see us going anywhere.
No.
I see us only growing and getting better and stronger and continuing to deliver the services this community and this whole Upper Cumberland deserves to have.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
I know our listening and viewing audience has had an overlap with WCTE PBS so many times across your lifetime. So be sure to support them and give back. And we're going to wrap up our show quickly with our winners. Yes, be a member.
Be a member.
So let's talk about, we already talked about Costa and Tracy were our Impact Champions.
Yes, so we had 4 categories, and the Impact Champion was Costa and Tracy. They were great. And Pam and Denny. So they raised a lot of money. I think the overall goal, I think that over $28,000 was raised just in the philanthropy by all 12 teams. Then you had your costume, Best Dressed, and that was our Overton County, Rhonda and Keith No.
Myra and
Myra
Lucas.
and Lucas.
Yes.
County.
I knew I was going to mess that up.
That's all right. We'll
So
forgive
Myra
you.
and Lucas from Warren County, and then Pam and Dennis
Yes.
again. And then we had fan favorite or people's choice, and that was Rhonda and Keith.
Yes.
From Overton County, Bilberry, Rhonda and Keith Bilberry, and then Costa and Tracy came. I mean, they were close.
Yes.
It was super close.
I was really shocked by those results. I thought that Costa and Tracy had it.
And then the overall, which is was judged by our great judges.
So that's the Let's Dance champion.
Yep, our Let's Dance champion was from Fentress County, Michael Lane and Andrea Poppy. That's right. And our runner-ups were Pam and
Pam and Denny. Listen,
Again.
they were the runner-up champions of Let's Dance, and let's say thank you because we would be remiss. Our judges, Demetria Kaladimos and Bryce McDonald,
and
Caitlin Schaub.
Yep.
We appreciated them. They were wonderful,
They were
and
fun.
unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much, Avery,
Thanks,
for
Jen.
being here.
Thank you.
And guys, give to WCTE PBS. Become a member. It's so important. And we will see you again next week. You've been listening to Today in Putnam County.
This has been Today in Putnam County with Shan Stout.